Ko te mea tūtahi tēnei wā, ka tuku ki te o tātou mātua nui i te rangi. Ko i rā te tematanga me te whakamutunga o ngā mea katoa. Ora kroria ki te atua, he monga runga ki runga te mato o te whenua, he whakaaro pai ki ngā tangata katoa. Kia tata nei hoki, kia koutou, kua tae mai ki tōka kāinga, tēnei te mihi kia koutou, nau mai, haere mai, kake mai i roto o ta tātou whare, e tēnei wā. Kia ora whānau, my name is Koia Teinakore. I work for Me Family Services. We're an outfit in Mangere East, where we part of one of the arms of that services is to have our Talking Rubbish team. So it's about environmental, it's the whole thing, and it's a pleasure to be here to be able to promote the 3 R's, I suppose, to reduce, recycle and reuse. You know, I like that word because, you know, re-love things, reinvent, upcycle and stuff like that. So it's a pleasure to have you guys here at our whare today and to be able to go through this kaupapa and to be able to help te iwi o te motu, which is the whole of New Zealand. We just do our part here with me and my family here. So kia ora, nau mai, hara mai,
kia ora.
Tau mai. We've got 9 children. We've got 3 mokopuna that actually stay with us. 2 of my daughters have moved back in a few years ago, but were staying with us early on. So we have 9 children. We have and 13 mokopuna. Who's staying with me in this whare here is there's 11 in our bubble, especially from the COVID from last year. Yeah, back in 2013, I was working as a driver license instructor. I also drove buses for a local community centre, and used to take groups out to Waitakere Learning Centre, which is the transfer station on the concourse in Henderson. And so I sat in on the discussions. You know, I didn't want to sit in the bus, I want to come see what they're all about, so I usually don't sit in the bus. I just go out to where all these groups are going and then get a free feed and everything else, you know, it's all good. But then that's how I got into waste minimisation, was to, I walked out of that first session from the Learning Centre, just made me think about my childhood and think how we did it back in the day, you know, take care of our rubbish. Of course, in the 70s, 60s, 70s, Dad used to burn it all in the backyard. And I suppose that's what everyone did. Manuko's council wasn't even born then. So yeah, everyone just had to manage their waste. We did have a local tip, which was a few k's away to the Whitford tip. And so, yeah, I just thought that where have I been hiding? I've always been quite good with my recycling, but wasn't too good about things that were going to the landfill. You know, so we kind of put everything into the one bag. Of course, we had the black rubbish bags back then, and in the 1970s, I just thought plastic bags were the best thing. Before that, we had the brown shopping bags that we used to take our shopping home in. So coming into waste minimisation just made me go back to my childhood and saw how we managed waste. It probably wasn't the right way, but I remember times just going to the Whitford tip with my dad and quite often taking our inorganic waste there and what other rubbish we had from the household that we saved throughout that year. So it was an annual thing, taking our rubbish to the tip. Quite funny though, we used to bring rubbish home. My dad used to, like, you know, going up the top of the hill, there was some good stuff left up the top of the hill that people could take away. So when I saw that, you know, I thought that was pretty cool, how we were picking up some good, taking in the old stuff, bringing some quite good stuff back to the home. So what we do here is, of course, try not to bring a lot of stuff into the household. I've learned that earlier on in some of the sessions that I was attending. One of the ways to reduce waste was to not bring anything in the home in the first place. So when we first got into that, we were it was quite dramatic, especially really trying to reduce the waste. Our food waste was a big one. And so at one of the workshops at the transfer station, we had a Bakashi workshop, and I got introduced to Bakashi, which is a 2-bucket system, and how we can get rid of cooked food waste even. Not get rid of it, but to manage it so it can be managed, eventually put back into, dug into the garden, dig a trench and cover it over. Gets the heat so it'll generate and break down faster, and then I cover it. Yeah. And that's all I do. But this is all food waste in here. Whatever I use in my cooked food waste, it's all hot in there, I can feel it. And so just by doing that, I was able to see that it made me go back to the garden myself. So with the Bakashi, yeah, that kind of helped me mend the soil. The most waste that we separate from what we bring in here is, of course, the plastic waste. But it's great that we can take it to the countdown and give it back to them. They actually have a big a rubbish bin there that collects the soft plastic. Soft plastics are anything that you can scrunch in your hand and it doesn't really bounce back, but it can be reused. So the big thing I got about the soft plastic is that there is innovations now here in New Zealand where we're managing our soft plastics here in New Zealand, where they make fence posts out of it. It comes back as a cone or something like that. What we're doing also is sending a lot of it, bale it up over the North Shore. It goes into a container and then they send it to Australia. And we kind of buy things back. It comes back as chairs or cones or barriers or something like that. So it's great that it's been reused or finding a use for soft plastics, but I wish more innovation can be done here in our own country. We pride ourselves on number 8 wired people. Why can't we really? I don't know whether it's bureaucracy that does, or red carpet that goes through all that. Yeah, no, it's very good with our little children, they listen. With the older ones, the teenagers we got in our place, yeah, there's a lot of work, but they're really good at it. When they can put things in the right place. But my mokopuna, I've done my best with my children. It's my mokopuna that I get out in the garden with me, and that I get to teach our bigger ones, and they love doing that too. Our food waste, we have a container that we put it into the Bakashi buckets. If it's cooked food, we'll put it into the Bakashi. If it's just our veggie waste, raw vegetables, skins and everything, I put it in my compost outside and I manage it there. Make beautiful soil. We've been here for about 2.5 years, so we're still renting. Our last place we come from, we were there for about 11 years. It was one of my friend's place until she had to give it up. But we had a beautiful garden also there. But that's where I got into it, was back in 2014-13, where my whole attitude towards how I view rubbish really changed, to the extent that really made me think about Mother Earth, who we call Paptuanuku. I didn't even know I was going to go back and learn Māori and things like that, but it's kind of learnt me that way. It's kind of brought me into that arena, especially in the arena of environment. Yeah. So it's more broader now, how I view rubbish. Okay, so we have a small red bin here, which is the standard size bin in Mother Earth, South Auckland. Of course, in different parts of Auckland, they'll have different colour bins and stuff like that. But we have a red lid bin, and it's a small one, 180 litre. And so we have brown rubbish shopping bags that we could get from Countdown. Those are what we use to to put our waste that has to go into the red bin. We only put a couple or three of those bags a week into our bin. Sometimes it's only 2 bags, but it's only a small thing. Yeah, I know we can do better. But how I'm seeing it now, I'm satisfied with what we're putting out.
And how does that compare to before?
Yeah, before I learned, before I went to take busloads of people to the learning centre, yeah, we were putting out 5 bags. I was quite ashamed, everything would go in there. And yeah, so there were 5 bags of rubbish outside our place every week, which is weekly collections. So, I'm quite proud of where we come so far. It's always a work in progress though. And it's something that my children know about, and we do movies in parks. Like I subcontract for clean events, and then they get me to do the waste bins at the movies and parks. So we have 3 bins stationed. Auckland Council's trying to go zero waste by 2040. So. These are just some of the things that they've introduced at all events, public events.
Yeah.
And so my children are involved in that too.
That's great.
And so, to get them involved and to get them thinking about rubbish, my hope is for them in the future, they'll be able to manage their waste. Yeah, it's something that Me Family Services were looking at in their own centres to reduce the waste that they produce on site. And so part of my job at Me Family Services is to get rid of that waste, and we got rid of our bins that we no longer need, and the gardens I have there, of course, the soil, I've built it up really cool. I don't have green hands, or green fingers. It's really in the soil that I've learnt about. And so having good soil, you can grow anything, and that's what I've learned.
And do you do work with churches and maraes as well?
Yes, churches and maraes. We've set up a few maraes. Hua Parakore is out there now. Hua Parakore is a Māori version to Waste Minimisation Council Zero Waste. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Hua Parakore, they do a lot of the maraes now, and they do a lot of workshops and help out marae. But early on it was myself around South Auckland here, just helping our maraes, seeing what we're really putting into Paptuanuku. And those are a work in progress too. You'll get 2 different people that will come onto the marae, and then they don't know the kaupapa, but they do run workshops up at the marae, and I attend those. And when they have weekend noho maraes, so groups will come in there for weekend noho maraes, I'll go in there and tip out a bag of rubbish on a Friday night or something, and say, and then this is what it's about, reducing our waste while you're here on the marae. I would like to getting them to know the kaupapa of the marae. But being an urban marae, it can be challenging. Think about our mokopuna, think about your grandchildren. It's kind of hard for me to... A couple of years ago you asked me this question, I would have been able to answer it quite coolly, but having COVID that came into our shores last year, it really made me think about a lot of stuff. Not only environment, but about my grandchildren, and with the climate change and everything changing at the moment, I'm not sure if there is going to be a bright future. Like they told us in the 60s, there'll be a bright future here, have your own picket fence and everything else like that, and car in the drive. But I'd like to just let people know that if they can, one of my reasons for doing this is because the future of my grandchildren, hoping that when I leave that they'll be able to look after Paptuanuku, look after their environment and their immediate environment, and to care for our creation. Yeah, that's what I really would like to, aspirations for my mokopuna anyway. it's not really about myself anymore, so I tend to let people know that it's really about them.